modernism and in the 1800s what was the artistic choice, what was the artistic reason?
Alors elle demande de parler de son choix artistique entre le XVIIIe siècle et le modernisme d'aujourd'hui.
I think it is a tradition which is even thousands of years old, that people retell old stories in modern settings. That has been done in Greek in the ancient times, and it has been done in the 18th century, in the 19th century, and of course to much more extent now in our times, that old stories in theater or in film are retold in different settings, in modern settings, or even mixed settings, anachronisms, whatever. And the reason or the idea behind, or the philosophy behind, is to get rid of historical determinations which can influence you in a certain way, and to break away free into the emotional core of the story. So for me it was more important to focus on the emotional side of that strange story of this odd couple, and then set up a different setting, which of course has its reason. It's not by chance that we chose, or that I chose, this 1950s, 1960s decorum. One reason is that, of course, Wagner's idea of the Gesamtkunstwerk leads directly to the movie theater and to the idea of making a movie with people who talk and there's music behind. So that would be, I think Wagner is one of the first people who, and Simon Young said that, who had this idea in mind, but lacking the technique, he couldn't put it into implementation. And so we are able to do that. So why not retelling the story as if Wagner would be born 70 years later, as Simone proposed. So this was the initial spark for this setting and for this idea. And the other thing is, as I said, the films of the classical Hollywood period, let's say, who are widely influenced by Wagner's works and by Wagner's music, by Wagner's Gesamtkunstwerk, they use a very artificial technique which makes stories more abstract on the one hand, but much more emotional on the other hand, and that's the music. I mean, why, if two people have a dialogue, should an orchestra start playing violins? Why? I mean, where is this orchestra? There's none. But we accept this as something completely normal, and we are so used to it, and this is actually our why we are so used to it. We understand Wagner because he did the same, more or less. I mean, he lets people sing, but the idea is the same, that music is no longer only music for itself, but it supports a story, it supports action, it supports pictures, it supports images. And so that's how all these ideas came together to this result. Plus, there's one footnote. They had a telephone, I researched, they had a telephone in the late 1880s. They were the first telephones, and they had a house telephone in Bayreuth, and they had a landline telephone in Venice. But of course it looked different than ours.
Alors premièrement, il dit qu'à Venise, oui, il y avait des téléphones en 1880. Il a fait sa recherche et il a décidé de faire son film qui là ça se situe à peu près 1950-1960. Il dit que c'est depuis la nuit des temps qu'on raconte des histoires, mais en les modernisant. Même les vieilles histoires, par exemple de la Grèce, on les refait toujours, puis on les refait autant d'aujourd'hui pour mieux les comprendre ou mieux les saisir. Mais aussi que Wagner, il a ouvert la porte au cinéma. S'il est né plus tard, il a sûrement fait de la musique de cinéma, et c'est qu'il a amené la musique avec beaucoup d'émotion, et ce qui a ouvert un peu le cinéma dans les années 1950-60, le cinéma classique. C'était nouveau de mettre de la musique sur une émotion pour amplifier une émotion. Donc c'est un peu Wagner qui a ouvert la porte à ça. Et les films américains se sont inspirés beaucoup de cette stratégie pour amplifier les émotions. Et est-ce que j'oublie d'autres choses?
But to make it abstract at the same time.
Oui, c'est ça. Ça rend aussi le cinéma, ça le rend plus abstrait.
Artificial.
C'est plus abstrait comme histoire, parce que dans la vraie vie, quand on a une émotion, il n'y a pas de musique qui se met à jouer autour de nous. Mais dans le cinéma, ça devient abstrait parce qu'on voit quelqu'un qui parle pas, mais on a une musique et ça lui met une émotion sur ça. Et Wagner a amené cette musique qui, dans son temps, était une façon abstraite de faire une nouvelle façon de faire de la musique.
Merci.
Voilà. J'ai compris, mais pour le traduire, oui.
What is the thing that fascinated you the most about Wagner? His sexuality, his music, his personal life? What is it that
Quelle est la chose qui l'a plus fasciné de Wagner? Sa musique, sa sexualité, sa vie?
That's again Gesamtkunstwerk. I mean, if you read this life story, you could make 10 sequels and other 10 prequels of this film. It's so rich of incredible and scandalous stories, as if you read that, you would say, that's not real, and a very strange author has scripted this. But it was real, and that was, I mean, even in the 19th century when this happened, of course, people were scandalized. But when you read this now, you are even more scandalized because we have this image of the 19th century of being such a sober and asexual century, which it was not, of course. And that's the other thing, that all these sexual fantasies went into the artworks of that century. And I think, yeah, that is one part that fascinates me. Of course, Wagner fascinates me as a composer because it is just film score music from the first note. And this kind of arguable character is always fascinating to retell stories. I mean, it would be boring to tell a story of someone who just has nothing more to tell in his life. But of course, there are things which also horrify me, and I think I go with Eva, who doesn't say I separate the work from the man, but who says I just accept that it was like this, and I try perhaps to see it in this historical context, which was far before the Nazis came up and, of course, took this as their propaganda. But then when I listen to the works, and when I listen to the music, I don't find this personal horror in the music anymore. The music and the works are just human, and it's just universal topics which deal with human issues, and it's not horrifying anymore. So I can sort of separate it, but I don't deny that he was an asshole from time to time.
Il dit qu'il ne nie pas que Wagner pour lui était, je ne peux pas traduire asshole, mais
Oh, I'm sorry, I talked no.
un trou de cul avec des guillemets, qui n'était pas toujours gentil. Il parle entre autres de l'antisémitisme et tout ça qui faisait la propagande, même si on n'a pas encore eu la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Mais il dit que dans sa musique, on retrouve quelque chose de très humain. On ne retrouve pas cette violence ou cette haine en lui. Dans sa musique est très humaine. Et aussi, il dit que ce qui l'a inspiré, c'est que sa vie est très très riche. Et quand les premières biographies de sa vie sont sorties, c'était un scandale, parce que c'était un siècle où la sexualité était très très censurée. Donc on peut dire que c'était comme... L'histoire de sa vie est très juteuse parce qu'il se passait beaucoup de choses entre la censure et son côté très sensuel à lui. Donc cette espèce de tourmente entre les deux qui au fond le rendait créatif aussi avec lui et sa femme ensemble. Ok, oui madame.
Je vais le dire en français. Dans votre film, vous parlez très peu de Liszt. Or, Liszt est un des premiers protecteurs de Wagner. C'est un homme généreux, un musicien généreux. Il a beaucoup aidé à se faire connaître. Et je trouve ça désolant que vous mettiez comme quelqu'un qui n'aimait pas Wagner.
D'après, according to her, she said that Liszt was someone who's protected Wagner and helped him. And she said that she's a bit sorry that she couldn't see in this movie that Liszt didn't like Wagner that much. Did I translate well? I think so, yeah.
Well, as I said, there are so many stories in Wagner's life and so many other personalities who could come in, like Nietzsche or also Ludwig. There's so much more to tell about. It's just impossible to put all that into one movie. So I really focused on this mysterious relationship between Cosima and him. And Liszt comes in from time to time. We tell in the beginning of the story that he supported him and he gave him fake passports and money to escape from Dresden to Paris. So it is mentioned, but it's not a story. It would be part 6 maybe. Yes, please. Oh, sorry, no, we have to translate that.
Alors oui, Liszt l'a aidé, il a même aidé à avoir des faux passeports pour se sauver de Paris. Il y avait quand même une relation mystérieuse entre les deux. Il aurait pu aussi parler de beaucoup d'autres personnes qui l'ont aidé, par exemple Nietzsche et d'autres personnes. Mais il devait choisir à un moment donné pour le focus qu'il voulait pour son film. Et il dit qu'au fait, ça pourrait être aussi le sujet de d'autres films avec tous les gens qui ont influencé Wagner. Est-ce qu'il y avait une autre question ici, madame?
Oui, je voudrais vous remercier beaucoup, c'était super.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wonderful.
J'ai une question, le scoring, the comic, the animation, is it based on a real, an existing book, or you made it especially for that movie?
Elle veut savoir si tout le côté bande dessinée a été fait pour le film ou ça vient de quelque chose qui existait déjà.
The comics were made for the film. It is also, the style is also a bit the mixture between the historical pictures that we see in the film, in this CSI office, and our interpretation of the 1950s and 60s. And it is done by a wonderful Italian designer. Her name is Flavia Scuderi. And she has worked for Disney. Maybe that is, sometimes you can see that. And, but then, after we did this, the producer has commissioned a complete graphic novel with the whole story and even a bigger story, but in a slightly different style. So it's more based on historical views and historical settings and costumes, but there is the Wagner story in a graphic novel available now.
And what's the name?
It's Flavia Scuderi, and it's all under the title Wagnerwahn, which is the German title.
Oui, tout ce qui est les bandes dessinées était fait pour le film, mais c'est fait par un designer italien, Flavia Scuderi. Et elle a aussi travaillé pour Disney d'ailleurs. Et c'est tellement bien fait qu'il y a des gens qui ont fait un film qui est tout en animation, mais plus sur la vie historique de...
No, it's not a film, it's a book.
It's a book. Oh, c'est un livre qui a été fait à partir de ces images-là qu'ils ont aimées. Oui, monsieur.
To what extent do you think that Wagner's idea of opera without a stage is giving modern interpreters a license to present Wagner in ways that you would not have considered possible? For example, there is a current production where Siegfried is flipping burgers.
In every extent.
I'm not sure I understood the question.
There's just one word answer. In every extent. Yeah. I mean, this is art, and we can, and art has always been treated by other artists in a different way, and the tradition is as old as art is, to take art from other artists and put it in a new way, or read it in a new way, or interpret it in a new way, and you can do that with Wagner to any possible extent, and I'm glad that this is happening.
Alors le monsieur demandait pourquoi on peut prendre le travail de Wagner puis l'interpréter comme on veut ou en faire ce qu'on veut, mais il disait que le travail de n'importe quel artiste, on peut le reprendre et l'interpréter à notre façon et lui donner même une nouvelle interprétation parfois. Mais c'est ouvert, le travail d'un artiste évolue toujours parce qu'il y a d'autres artistes qui le reprennent et qui le font avancer dans le temps et dans l'histoire, dans la philosophie. Oui, madame.
C'est un commentaire qui tombe bien sur la question précédente. Au début, je dois avouer que j'étais loin d'être certaine de mes films, mais au fur et à mesure que je m'adaptais, finalement, j'ai trouvé ça génial. La façon que vous avez dit que Wagner, et la musique de Wagner est utilisée pour mes films, je trouve que vous avez mis vos images à vous sur la musique de Wagner d'une façon géniale. Surtout la scène qui m'a frappée, c'est quand la mère de cheveux tombe Et là, c'est un synchronisme parfait avec la musique. En tout cas, j'en ai des frissons en disant.
She said that at the beginning she had a hard time to cope with the movie and the style of the movie. She was not sure she was going to like it, but how it went, she got used to that style, and finally she really enjoyed the way you put the music on the image and really.
The image on the music.
The image on the music, yes. Well, because the music was already composed, so you have to put the image on the music. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, I used only music which is music of Wagner. We have recordings here that we use, but I didn't use the pieces as they are played or written. It is more a collage, so I use it as material. There, in the beginning of the film, you hear 12 different music numbers at the same time. So that gives a more contemporary film score impact, which I was trying to aim. And then, of course, later you have Liebestod as it is, without voice though. But then there's always pieces which I mix with other pieces, so it's not the original way it would be played, but every single note is Wagner, right?
But anyway, it's
Oh, thank you so much.
She said it's genius. And he said he didn't use the music as it was. Some of it, yes, but some others, you put many.
French.
Oh, excusez, il a pris plusieurs musiques pour le mettre en une. I do that every day. I'm like, whoa. Sometimes I say good morning, it's the evening. No, time doesn't exist when we're here. So he put many music on top of each other.
En français. En français.
Il avait plusieurs musiques une par-dessus l'autre pour l'utiliser, pour le rendre plus riche. Là, au début, il dit qu'il y a comme 12 différentes séquences une par-dessus l'autre. Des fois, il les utilise toutes seules sans la voix de l'opéra. Mais sinon, c'est ça, il a quand même modernisé, si on peut, ou l'utilisé à son avantage pour coller sur les images aussi. Donc, c'est l'un et l'autre. Est-ce qu'il y a peut-être une dernière question? One more comment? Oui, monsieur, là-bas.
Is this documentary made for movies or for movie theaters or for TV?
Both.
Did you release it in Germany already on TV or in movie
Est-ce
theaters?
que
How's the distribution?
Est-ce que le documentaire va être dans les salles ou à la télé? De quelle façon il va être distribué?
Yes, I mean, of course, it's compatible for movie theaters, but it was produced as a television production with possible cinematic release, which is now supposed to come in Germany in autumn and winter. So we had some premiere screenings in cinemas before the first broadcast. That was Arte. I don't know if you know the channel. That's the French-German channel. And the broadcast was on the 22nd of May, which is the 200th birthday of Richard Wagner. So that was Arte's contribute to this event.
In May?
That was in May. And now I'm here, and then in late autumn, I think there will be a cinematic release in Germany. But I don't know to which extent. I'm not involved in the production processes, but I can inform myself if you want to have more information, of course.
Donc le film a été montré en mai parce que c'était le 200e anniversaire de Wagner et c'était sur une chaîne française en Allemagne. Et puis là, il va sûrement être montré dans les salles, dans les cinémas. Alors voilà. Est-ce que, are you going to be outside if you have more questions?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Donc il va être à l'extérieur, ça va lui faire plaisir. Merci, thank you.